All right, we say it all the time in our videos that they are about education, not entertainment. This one is clearly educational. Not much excitement going to happen probably, and a lot of history. So if you're looking for some exciting action, about the most that's going to come out of it is our dog may run into our hog shop here and spin her tail around and run out. But if you want to bear with me, I'm going to give you a little bit of history. And I think history's good. It tells us where we came from and where we might be going. Big disclaimer. Jager Pro is not sponsoring us, not endorsing us. They don't pay us. We are simply a dealer for Jager Pro because we like the product. Just like we're a dealer for a bunch of companies because we like the product. You see the Go Light on top of that truck right there. We are a dealer for Go Light. We don't get paid something to mention Go Light. So is it going to be a heavy historical lesson on Jager Pro? Well, it might explain why we went with Jager Pro. So just bear with me. Grab a cup of coffee, maybe you ain't got nothing better to do. In 1985, I was 16 years old. Had a job, was going to high school, but had a job, had my own money. And I bought a 1970 Lincoln Continental with a 464 barrel. For you that don't know, that's a big ass motor, drinks a lot of gas. Modern day people probably wouldn't like a 464 barrel. Of course I was 16 and I didn't know, but it was a big black car. I rode back through our pine thicket to our farm, and I remember my dad just shaking his head. I could barely see over the steering wheel. I was a little booger eater, still kind of a little booger eater. And he just said, son, you need to get something that gets better gas mileage. That was it. In the conversation. Dad was a man of few words. So I shook the trees and moved around a little bit. A few weeks later, I rolled down that same little road through the pine thicket in a 1980 Harley Davidson that I could barely touch, both sides at the same time. Man, he lost his junk. He really did. He didn't bait me or nothing like that. He just lost his junk. And really for Dad, when he lost his junk, he just didn't say much. So you knew it was all cooking inside that pressure cooker. But he let me keep the bike. Two reasons. Never did understand why, but I've got two theories of why he let me keep that bike. Dad was a Navy veteran. Worked in a rock quarry his whole life. I think because Harley was American made, that played a big factor into it. He knew the history of Harley. He knew where Harley came from. And I think those were the factors that played into it. I'm gonna let my 16-year-old son keep this thing. Changed my life, it really did. 40 years later, now I'm 56, and I've owned a Harley ever since. Never got into short trips, always liked long trips. Do 800,000 miles in a day. Never did really like riding with anybody. Didn't want to be a part of a group or social event, nothing. Just wanted to get on the bike and cruise. 1995, the wife and I got married and took our Harley honeymoon. And then the first boy came along in 2005. And then the second boy come along in 2007, and we started looking at maybe both of us don't need to be on a bike. Just because if something happens, youngins need a parent, at least one, at least a good one. She's probably the better one, so she took a step back, and since then, pretty much all I've done on a Harley is ride somewhere to bury a buddy, ride somewhere to help people work through some bad junk they've been through, which is our other business we've talked about in other videos. And that's kind of been what I use the bike for. I don't really go sightseeing or take a trip because I can't take my best friend with me. And when the boys were younger, I'd had all the protective gear and I might pick them up from school or something, but I ain't done that in forever. The other night, Monday night, today's Wednesday, Wyatt had a baseball game about 2 hours away. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna take the bike. So I got her out. I hadn't ridden it in almost 2 years. And the last time I rode it, I was in Texas. A buddy of mine got killed over there. And I actually dropped a gate from the bike. It was pretty cool, probably not safe. But you got a mount here for your phone, and I had the Jager Pro app going, and dropped a gate, called the family, and said, hey, you need to giddy up and get it done. But when I got on the bike the other night, I was riding across I-10, flat, North Florida, nothing to do. I had the app up, the Jager Pro app up, and I'm watching all the cameras, 50 some odd cameras coming in. And it really dawned on me right then. You know, it was like, there's a lot of similarities between the historical foundation of Harley Davidson and Jager Pro. And again, Jager Pro doesn't even know this video is being made. They're not paying me to put that on my sleeve, on the truck, on the sign. No, there's no payment, nothing. And I'm good with that. I kind of like that. I'm my own man. But I got to thinking about it, you know. If you know the history of Jager Pro, the control box that I'm looking at is built by Lance. Lance is a combat veteran, retired military, all the above. He built that control box. And Lance traps hogs. He gets it. He's out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, flipping the switch, dropping gates. And then you've got Chris, who builds the panels and the gate that I'm looking at. And he is a veteran, served his country. And he's constantly trying to figure out new designs to make things just a little bit better. Guess what? He traps hogs. And then you've got Clint that runs the camera department, and he did, but now he's the manager of Jager Pro. He's trapped hogs, and he's a combat veteran, served his country, tried and true. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, when I'm out there doing what we do, that plays into it. It's kind of like sitting on a Harley, thinking about back in the 40s and 50s, right? Thinking about what Harley was doing for America. And it wasn't a status symbol, and it wasn't cool, and all the above. It plays into it. So when we started looking at diving into cellular technology trapping and leaving the old school junk behind, and junk to me has got two terms, good and bad. When I say old school junk, it needs to go. Go away. We looked at that. What is the passion and drive behind a business? Jager Pro's got it. It's a foundation. It's a foundation of a group of men and women who love what they do. They want to make it better. They care about the environment. And it's not all about just making a buck. Yeah, people got to pay bills. We get it. We got a business. But at the same time, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears go into it. So that's what we looked at. Who do we want to join forces with? Who do we want as an ally? Also, we look at, does it make hogs smarter? Trapping system. We knew that from what we used. We've done a video. What's in our old tobacco barn? It makes hogs smarter. We didn't know that. We know it now. So we need cellular technology. And we need a good support system for that cellular technology, meaning tech support. People who get it, people who are there to help us work through any cellular issues we have. We need to be in control of that gate, not the animal. Does the trap harm other animals outside of the hog world? And that's where we get into non-target species. We want a trap that traps hogs. We don't want it to trap a bear. We don't want it to trap deer. We don't want any of that. And that's why you've got to be in charge of that trigger. Press that button, not the animal. And that's what we looked at. And a simple choice for us as a small family business, just wanting to take it from a passion to an extreme passion, was Jager Pro for us. Now, the hard part, I think, with when you dive into YouTube and all the other social media platforms is there's a push, right? And the push is coming from they're being paid. I'm telling you folks, we ain't being paid. We wear Ag Pro, largest John Deere dealer in the United States, on our left sleeve. It's on our truck. It's on our banner outside the building. Ag Pro doesn't pay us anything. I think it's a good company. They're based out of Boston, Georgia. One of my bestie friends works for them. And they've always taken care of our family. They've taken care of a lot of the people that we work for. So I think it matters, right? And I think it's nice, as I said earlier, to be your own man. No one's pulling your strings. You know, if we grow big enough through YouTube that there's actually income coming in from that, I can promise you what we're going to do with that is dump it into our nonprofit, which is designed to help first responders get people to embrace autism and to help our military guys. That's our agenda. Our agenda is not to sell more product. We're simply trying to explain why we chose Jager Pro and why we chose that traffic system. So when I'm sitting on a Harley, that's what goes through my squirrel cage. When I'm sitting on a Harley, it's like I'm riding from some guy from the 1940s. And he's serving his country and he's behind enemy lines doing what he's got to do. I hope that this video resonates with you. I hope it makes you think about your decision when you go to buy a trap and look at the foundation. Some people don't care about history. I get it. I do. I care about history. I want to know where I came from and I want to know where I'm going. And a lot of times in order to know that, you got to have history. Hold on. Baby, baby, come here. No, you're come here. All right, you can't even see her. All right, hope you all enjoyed the video.